Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching, the biggest little YouTube channel on the entire interwebs. I am your host, Q the Rider, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about my Road King Police Edition. And I'm going to answer all of the questions that I received in my prior video. I'll post a link to that video right here. Now, in that video, I talked about some of the differences between a Road King Special, a civilian Road King, compared to my police Road King. Before I get started, I want to recognize the sponsors for Riding and Wrenching, Wings Customs, and Volunteer Audio. Now, a few other things I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to correct a few mistakes I made in my first video. I'm also going to talk about some additional information I found out about this police Road King. And again, we're going to answer about 12 questions that I received in my prior video. So let's jump into it. So the first mistake that I made in my first video is that I stated that you can only get this bike in black. I was wrong. According to Harley Davidson's website, you can get this bike in somewhere between 16 and 24 colors. I have no idea why they said 16 and 24 colors instead of just saying up to 24 colors, but that's what it says. The other mistake that I made is I said that this bike cannot be ordered by civilians. According to Harley Davidson's website, it can, but you would have to visit your dealer. Now, I visited a dealer that said they won't order a police Road King for a civilian. So I think it depends on the dealership. At the end of the day, I think you'll get the best price possible by finding one that's already on the showroom floor, because that probably means that they ordered that bike for some police department for whatever reason. They didn't sell it to them and they just want to get rid of it. And you can get a great deal on it. I was able to confirm that I was right on this one point, that there is no MSRP. So you're going to have to negotiate that price if you want to buy one of these bikes from a dealer. But again, you can order one in any color that you want of the 24 color options they have. Now, the next thing I want to share with you is a couple of additional facts that I learned about this bike. And one of them is that this bike is 35 pounds heavier than a Road King Special. And I think there's some reasons for that, because there's a lot of features on this bike that don't come on a Road King Special, like the tour pack mount, the windshield. It has a bunch of wiring harnesses that the Road King Special doesn't have, as well as some police lights on here. And there may be some other components in the bike that make up that difference in weight between the police Road King and the Road King Special. Also learned that this bike has a better lean angle to the left than the Road King Special by 1 degree. I suspect that's because, well, I'm about to make an assumption here. I believe the Road King Special has 12-inch shocks, which, if that's true, might result in a lower lean angle. Maybe. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is, according to Harley Davidson's website, this bike has more lean angle, even though I don't believe it. Also discovered that this bike has an oil cooler fan, and I saw it. The oil cooler is at the bottom front of the bike, and the oil cooler fan is right behind it. That's pretty cool, because I think that's good for when you're going slower and that oil's getting hot. And that fan can help keep the oil, or keep the air moving through the oil cooler and help to manage the temperature of the bike. So that's a good thing. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the questions that I received. The first question I received says, are there differences in the motor? Well, according to Harley's website, there is no difference in the motor that I'm aware of, or nothing that I could find. This motor has 122 foot-pounds of torque, and that's according to Harley, which is the same as the 114 that's in the Road King Special, which is the same as the 114 that's in the Road Glide Limited and the Ultra Limited. Same torque specs. However, horsepower specs are different between the Road Glide Limited and the Road King Special. The Road King Special has 95 horsepower compared to 93 horsepower for the Road Glide Limited and the Ultra Limited. There's no horsepower rating given for the police bike. I don't know why. Now, I was told that this bike, someone commented that the police bikes have a different cam and a heavy breather, so that might have more horsepower. So I imagine it has at least 95 horsepower, maybe more. Next question, and this actually was a comment, and this comment came from one of my instructors at Lock and Lean, and he recommended that I set up the bike for a purpose, and I am. My purpose is going to be, I'm going to use this bike for multiple things. This bike is going to be my practice bike. This will be the bike that I take to rodeos, but I'm also going to ride this bike around Memphis. I'm going to do short trips on this bike, anything that doesn't require an overnight stay, and I'm just going to ride it around the city. I may ride it back and forth to work a lot. So this bike is going to get a lot of miles on it this year. So it's not going to be in a rodeo form at all times, but I will keep all of the stock parts, or at least the stock rims and tires. I'm going to keep those. And if I need to put them on specifically for rodeo competitions, then I'll do that. Otherwise, it's going to be in the riding and wrenching look good all the time mode. Now, in my prior video, I mentioned that I'm scraping the kickstand a lot during sharp left turns or turns with a lot of lean, and it is annoying. And so someone recommended that I try some Legend air ride shocks. So I'm not really familiar with what those are, but I do have a set of 13-inch Öhlins shocks in my garage. And if I need to, I'll use those, because I also received a recommendation that the stock shocks on here can be adjusted, and they recommended I go to the max preload, and that might lift the bike up a little bit and reduce the kickstand scraping that I'm currently experiencing. So I'm going to try that first. If that doesn't work, I'll try the shocks. If that doesn't work, then we'll go with the tires. But the tires, that's going to happen anyway. All right, the next one is a comment. It says, "Good video, Q. The mirrors allow police riders to be able to see things better and in greater detail. It takes some getting used to, but you do get used to it. It's a good thing that you got a new police Road King versus a used one. Some of the bikes that actually get put in service with a police department are ridden hard due to the nature of the job. My agency has sent some pretty tired ones off to auction when we finish with them. And since he's so familiar with how hard these bikes get ridden, he chose to get a Yamaha. He likes his bike and he can do long rides in it. So, that's awesome. And I'm really honored to have a lot of police officers commenting on my videos. I have a lot of police officers that have been mentoring me. And I'm, again, unbelievably grateful to you guys. Also for your service to the community. In fact, everybody that wears a uniform, in particular, my brothers and sisters in the United States Navy. Next comment, this was actually a response to a question that I had, and that is about, on the speedometer, this bike, it has a feature called SP. I had no idea what it was, and so they answered that question for me. SP stands for speed capture, and the speed capture is used to record the vehicle speed when pacing another vehicle. It's something that police use. I had no idea that was a thing, but now I know how they do it, at least on motorcycles, and I tested it, and it works. So that gave me another question. Well, the speed capture is only as useful as the accuracy of the speedometer on this bike. Now, someone else said that the speedometers on police bikes are calibrated. Challenge accepted. I'm going to find out. I'm going to do a test in a future video, and I'm going to test the accuracy of the speedometer in this bike, because I want to know if I ever get paced by a bike, I want to know how accurate the speedometer is, and I'm going to share that with you. Next one. Only one modification is needed on this bike, and that is a backrest from Utopia. I already have one. I just haven't put it on the bike yet, so we're going to start doing some upgrades on this bike in the coming weeks, and that backrest is going to be one. We're going to do the lights, slip-on mufflers. We're going to start doing some of the easy stuff first, and then sometime in the future, we're going to do that air cleaner, at which point we'll get the bike tuned, and we're also going to do the front headlights. Next question. This is from a good friend of mine, and he says, "So, what did you name it?" I don't recall hearing a name. Choices, choices, choices. It's a good problem to have. But hey, maybe now you can win a challenge against Jogo.
This is the champ.
I don't care.
Jogo Motorcycle Adventures, and I'm on the biggest YouTube channel on the entire interwebs.
If you're not aware, Jogo challenged me to several slow races. And after beating him time and time and time again, he finally managed to win one. and he made a championship belt for himself, and it's actually quite shameful. So I'm going to beat the crap out of you, Joe. I'm coming for you. You're mine. So what did I name my bike? Well, I named my bike King George. And I got that from the play Hamilton. The funniest character in the play is King George. It's freaking hilarious. If you've never seen Hamilton, do yourself a favor and go check it out. And then you'll understand why I really like that character in the play. Next, comment. I don't know how tall you are, but I am 6 feet tall and I put 10-inch bars on my Road King. Wish I had gone with 12s. So he's recommending 12-inch bars for me. I'm 6'1". And 12s, that's kind of what I had in mind. In fact, I have a set of 12-inch bars in the garage that I'm going to put on this bike, and we'll test those out first. But ultimately, I'm going to put a set of 12-inch bars from Wings Customs on this bike because they look phenomenal. I think it's going to look really, really good. Next, really great info. I'm curious what you're going to do about the lights, which brings me to another mistake I made in my first video. I said that's an incandescent bulb on the front. It's not. That's a halogen bulb, and it still sucks. So I'm going to replace all the lights on the front of this bike. I got a set of lights from Eagle Lights that we're going to put on here, the LED lights, and so it should be whiter and brighter and safer for me to ride at night. And I'll cover that in a future video as well and show you the advantage of these lights over the stock halogen bulbs that are on here. Next, comment came. This is from a fellow YouTube content creator. And he says, if you put stock style 19 and 18-inch wheels and tires on, you're going to find that it will not increase the height or improve the lean angle. That's because the higher tires have a lower profile than the 17 and 16-inch police rims and tires. So before you go through that expense, measure the height of the 19s compared to the height of the 17s, because they may very well be the same. So I'm going to do that, and I'll cover that in a future video. And he has a good point, because these talls have a nice tall sidewall, and the 19s are slightly lower profile, so the difference may not be that much. I don't know. But the other reason I'm doing it is because it's going to look better. But I'm really hoping to reduce the kickstand scraping that I'm currently experiencing on here. Two more. So this one, the PTT or push to talk button that's on the left thumb control, that allows police officers to communicate with each other and also to communicate with dispatch while they're riding. Says it takes me back to his police issue bike. So obviously I don't need that. So my plan, I'm going to try to convert that into a garage door opener. Wish me luck. Now the final question is from a troll or comment. Well, actually, I'm assuming that this is a troll comment. I really don't know, but it certainly sounds like one. So the comment is, you should never have picked a police Road King. Yeah, that's a troll comment. But I'm going to tell you why I picked the police Road King. It's cheaper. It's not just cheaper, it's a lot cheaper. And based on some of the prices that people are telling me they're seeing on these bikes, plus what I paid, you can save about $7,000 buying a police Road King compared to a Road King Special. And you can take the $7,000 and do whatever you want with it. You can either stick it in your pocket or the money you save, you can spend customizing the bike and maybe end up with something a little bit nicer than, the Road King Special, which happens to be a phenomenal looking bike. In fact, the Road King Special in black it's a really, really good looking bike. But even if I bought that bike, then I would have to start customizing it because I don't like the ride height, so I would put taller shocks on it. I would change the bars, all of the things that I'm going to do to this bike, just I would be starting from a $25,000 price point versus $6,000 or $7,000 less considering what I paid for this bike. So I think I'm going to come out ahead. So that's why I bought this bike, and I don't have any regrets. I love this bike. It's amazing. So that's all the comments in this video. I really appreciate everyone's support who's been watching my videos. We're continuing to grow, and I got a lot of phenomenal content coming down the road, covering a lot of different things. We're going to talk more about the CVO. We're going to continue doing content on this bike. I've got some really cool products that I'm going to review. They're sitting here in the garage, and we'll do those soon as well. In fact, I'll give you a clue, or I'll give you an advance notice of what they are since you're still watching the video. I have dash cams, a front and rear dash cam that we're going to install on the CVO and on my 18 Road Glide, and that's from Volunteer Audio. So go to Volunteer Audio's website if you want to learn more about that, because he's already done a video on them. But I'm going to do my own here, and I'm going to show you how to install it, and we're going to do an evaluation of the image quality off of those dash cams. I'm really excited about that because it's also a nice safety feature. So I'm looking forward to that. I am planning to be in Daytona. I'll be in Pensacola, Florida here in next month, I think, in March, participating in the Lock and Lean Rodeo, as well as I'm taking another riding class down there. And I've got other plans for riding classes for the year, including the Champ Riding School. That's going to be in Ohio. And where else am I going? I'm going to Nova Scotia, Canada. I'm going to be riding to California this year. So I've got a ton of cool content that's going to be coming your way. So please consider subscribing to the channel and leave me a comment. You're also welcome to send me pictures of your Road Glide. I'm sorry, your Road King. Send it to my email address, ridingandwrenching@gmail.com, and I will feature your bike in a future video. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out. So I'm driving from Memphis to Pensacola, Florida for the Lock and Lean class, and I happen to ride by the USS Alabama Museum, so I have to stop. Yours truly never became a pilot. I was in the Navy.
What was your rate? What did you do?
I was a lieutenant. Have you ever heard of the Navy SEALs? I didn't do that.